these things happening in our world.
It is, and it's a twisting of words, and it's a juxtaposition of truth in reality, and that's what Jesus said, that Satan is a liar and the father of all lies. So all of this anti-Israel is from Satan. It's not from
These guys are
man's
Satan.
reasoning. Satan
On
has
the radio, 97.5.
And enough people that don't want God are running with it.
Yeah. Mike, also we have what you mentioned earlier, and just to be specific about that, what you stated, we have, according to MIMO, Middle East TV, in essence, U.S. Tlaib and Omar banned from entering Israel, and U.S. Congresswomen Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar have been banned from entering Israel
Because they're not going to sign on to
from
AIPAC.
Israel's Channel 12, and Interior Minister Ari Deri decided to ban the Michigan and Minnesota congresswomen from going ahead with a trip to Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories, which was slated to take place this weekend. The decision comes after weeks of speculation over whether the pair would be banned from entering Israel under the country's 2017 anti-BDS law, which banned supporters of the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement from entering the country. And both Omar and Tlaib have repeatedly advocated for U.S. citizens' right to participate in boycotts in pursuit of civil and human rights, introducing a resolution to the U.S. House Judiciary Committee to this effect in July. Though the resolution did not mention Israel or BDS by name, the initiative was seen as an attempt to counter efforts by multiple U.S. states to ban support for the movement. So, again, Mike, one of the interesting things that we're seeing happening today is the rejection of nationalism as a right of any particular people group. And, you have to cooperate with the international community. Everything has to be for the greater good. National sovereignty is pretty much out the window these days. Like in the EU, everything has to be about the EU and not individualism or nationalism. And now here you've got
all the house divided.
These efforts by these two freshman congresswomen to basically bolster the protest against Israel and to hurt them economically, penalize companies that do business with them, even here in our own country with such a marvelous and booming economy that we have. Mike, they're not just enemies of Israel, they're enemies of our own country, according to their actions, seeking to harm American companies because they do business with Israel, and yet they expect to be welcome because they sit in the House as voted in members of Congress. And I think Israel was very wise in saying, you can promote all you want from your home, but you're not bringing that here.
It is interesting in a society where, around the world, actually not just our society, but where evil is fought, like I shared with you in CBS News in Philadelphia yesterday reported that while the 6 police officers were being shot by that drug dealer from his apartment, the crowd that had gathered outside
what goes around comes around
and behind the yellow tape were mocking and taunting and laughing at the police as they're getting shot. That's a whole...
Yeah, you didn't shot everybody else up in the neighborhood that's unarmed.
They just don't understand what's really going on.
What do you think was going to happen?
And I'd mentioned this article to you. It's 9 months old, and it pops up on the news yesterday.
Can't just be order followers.
For a second time, apparently. Sandy, my wife, sent it to me.
Get off your high horses.
This is kind of old news, but I looked at it and it says the United Nations wants a one-world government in less than 11 years now. So in the next decade, they expect it to be a one-world government.
They got it already.
What caught my attention was how this writer was saying the difference is America, we believe in our individual rights.
Don't speak for me.
The one-world government doesn't believe in individual rights, and that's what you just brought up. Everybody's equal. If you go out for soccer, you get a ribbon or a trophy, even if you lose. It's a whole new mindset, and this is the frustration of Article Number 1 in Europe that you read in England. The anxiety level of not really accomplishing anything. You look around and say, what did I really accomplish? They're frustrated at 20 years old. This is it right here. They already have a plan. But this writer, and this is not a conservative website, LifeSit, says the difference is America has rights, and the globalists want to take away America's rights that protect their own border, for instance, and the new Constitution or rights thing for the United Nations is there are no rights for people. You're all part of one government. You're all part of one thing. Everybody's equal, so forget about it. And that has never worked.
All over again.
Tried it many times over the centuries. And you and I are reporting today that we're within 11 years of the plan of the United Nations, and maybe sooner, maybe later. But the Lord's going to be here soon to take his church out before all that comes to pass. Really soon.
And wipe you guys out. And wipe you guys
also,
out.
Mike, as we've been talking, and we've got a couple of stories now, I want to preface our next section by saying I have not seen so much news activity concerning the Temple Mount as we have seen over the past few weeks, especially in light of Tish B'Av, the 9th of Av, when the Jews experienced the destruction of both of the temples on the same day, as
Is
well
that a
as
commemoration day?
associated with that calendar date. And
Is that an ordained Yahweh?
and attitudes in Israel that have now shifted, that are reminding us of the fact that this has the potential to really igniting the whole, because this is a spot where the Muslims, even though the Jerusalem is not mentioned in the Quran even once, mentioned well over 700 times in the Bible, it didn't become a place of value until the Jews returned to their homeland, and all of a sudden it's the third most holy.
They didn't go back.
And
they left
one
black
of the
and came back
things
white.
that began to develop is the change of the public's attitude in Israel. There's always been that fringe element, that we have to have the temple, we need to establish the cornerstone and do all these other things, but they were always viewed as those kind of out there on the lunatic fringe, so to speak. But now this is coming mainstream. It's like, hey, wait a minute. This is our country. That's our Temple Mount, our two temples.
You guys need to shut the hell up.
Our next story comes again from the Times of Israel, where a cabinet minister says Temple Mount status quo should be changed so Jews can pray there. Public Security Minister Gilad Erdan on Tuesday said Israel should push to change the status quo at the Temple Mount days after the clashes at the Jerusalem Holy Site. As part
the cabinet minister, the whole business. You set us up.
When Israel captured the Old City in East Jerusalem from Jordan, non-Muslims are barred from praying at the Temple Mount, which is the holiest site in Judaism and the third holiest in Islam. Erdan, whose ministry oversees police responsibility for security at the Temple Mount, voiced support in an interview for changing the existing arrangements there. I think there is an injustice in the status quo that has existed since 1967, he told Israel Radio 90. We need to work to change it so future Jews, with the help of God, can pray at the Temple Mount. He clarified that he opposes introducing such a change unilaterally. This needs to be achieved by diplomatic agreements and not by force. In our next story...
Why don't y'all talk about Tel Aviv being a homosexual capital of Europe? And tell me how that fits into your narrative.
Call for new Temple Mount status quo. A spokesman for the Jordanian Foreign Ministry warned on Tuesday that a change of the status quo in the Temple Mount would have serious consequences. The statement came in response to Israeli Public Security Minister Gilad Erdan.
There already has been, and there's going to be serious consequences.
In the status quo, and we need to work to change. The official Petra news agency reported that Jordan rejects Erdogan's statements and sent a letter of protest to Israel through diplomatic channels. And under the 1994 peace treaty brokered by President Bill Clinton between Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin and Jordanian King Hussein, Israel recognizes Jordanian custodianship of the Temple Mount.
Oh, there's all this stuff going on. You just keep on talking about it, don't make it so.
Muslim worshippers during Muslim holidays, whereas Israel maintains security control of the sensitive holy site. So, again, Mike, here we have...
All right, Mike and other guy. That is just a bunch of long-winded nonsense. But you know what? They wouldn't be spending all their energy if it wasn't for a good reason, would they? Oh, they got a good reason. Oh, they got their motivation. But their motivation is not the Most High God. Nobody's setting anything up in the name of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, except for them Israelites that's waking up right now. Let's see some more of that going down. Nobody's going to be dropping real names. And in that same article, they said the globalists. What? The globalists? Man, why don't you drop some names? You just talking. Just keep on talking about it. Don't make it so. It sounded like that Eric Holder comment where he was like, yeah, we really just need to just really brainwash Americans to really think really differently about guns. Eric Holder. He looked like a rat, man. He looked like he he could audition for Ratatouille 2. And they wouldn't even need to make him into a claymation figure. Anyway, I just got out of work here on a Sunday. Getting ready to run up in Chipotle, grab some food for the fam. Shalom, peace and blessings. Call it how you see it. Call it how you see it!